watching the Battered Fans Network.
The heroes are back. Beers talking balls, rapping pink and black. Coming live from the 305, it's official tissue. The Battered Fan, Chris and Dan, weekly rocking with you. We talk Messi, Boosie, Jordy, Lucho, the Fat Four, to Ben Cram, Noah, Ruiz, Fred. What more could you ask for? Tighten up and get ready, listen in on the pod. Solana and X in Espanol, just to even the odds. Breakdowns and gas bagging, join the tribe and just vibe. $3.99, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't hesitate, say what's up, go ahead and come in. No question about it, I'm ready to get hurt again.
No question about it, I am ready to get hurt again.
John, the Heroes are back. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 356 of the Battered Heroes podcast. I am your host, Daniel Granada, and alongside me, I got Mr. John Rollins from Loud and Proud to preview the Orlando City Inter Miami game this coming Sunday. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. I feel like I'm, behind enemy lines here. I feel like we're crossing territories.
It's already started.
I know y'all don't like me. That's cool, but I'm here because I like Danny. He's a good dude. I watch your MLS show. I do.
Yeah,
Chris. I think you guys are awesome.
Yeah, you've been a guest. Appreciate you.
Yeah, we could be friends. We can be frenemies. And then someday, all go. That's it. Like no.
So Sunday, it's all out the window.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
In the chat, go as hard as you want at Orlando, but be kind to my guy John.
Yo, you can come with me too. I'll take it. I got thick skin. You can't beat this game if you don't have thick skin, right, Danny?
Yeah, that's for sure. No, I mean I get it from this fan base plenty. Believe me. All right. So Sunday's game, Orlando. Obviously, I don't even know. Do you consider this a rivalry? Because that's a basic conversation that we seem to have all the time here in the Inter Miami space. Obviously, you guys geographically are the closest team, so right, it's rivalry. But do you really consider this a rivalry?
Yeah, man, we do. It's two teams in Florida. I feel like there is a history of obviously you guys being in MLS not that long at us, but I do think it's a rivalry. Like we have one with Atlanta, we feel as well, and other teams. But I don't know if there's debate whether it's the most important rivalry. A lot of our fan base really still feel like Atlanta's a bigger rival, or a lot of hatred towards New York City for us. But I think the whole, being in the same state thing, it has to be a part of that. And I think also the way that we run our clubs is very different, and the way the clubs are set up is very different. So there's a whole kind of different like culture and vibe kind of antithesis going on there.
And NYCFC, I definitely I could see why you guys came in at the same time, first inaugural game against each other. And I was actually there for that game in attendance at that stadium, so I can definitely see that. Traveling fans, while I bring Xavier up on screen, Xavier is going to join us. But while I do that, traveling fans, are there a lot of fans coming over to the stadium from Orlando?
I know the Ruckus and I left are going to be coming down, so our two supporter groups are going to be coming down. I imagine you're probably going to see, 300 to 500 of them down. And then obviously some of our fans that live
scattered
closer down that way will probably come because it's only Fort Lauderdale. It's not that far, it's not Miami real. So it's doable for some of them. And yeah, I think you'll see some presence. We like to make ourselves known, like to come in your house and make some noise. So I think this will be a bit of that back and forth, which, that's what Wade is all about. We just went to Tampa and blew up their house, so I'm sure we're excited to come do it down in your place.
Oh yeah, but that stadium, you must have filled it up because that stadium, the Raleigh Stadium, isn't very large.
Fun, bro. Yeah, we just took it over. They had no reply to us. It was great.
Xavier, thank you for joining us. How you doing?
Good. How you doing, guys? Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it.
So, John, real quick, history-wise, just to put it out there, we've played each other 16 times. We both have 5 wins and 6 draws. So this has obviously been a very evenly contested matchup here. And going into this game, I think we're coming into two different, where we feel like we've been on the decline as of late. Had a rough couple weeks. And you guys are on a 10-game, if we're talking just MLS regular season, 10-game unbeaten streak, even though like 8 of those games you guys went scoreless. Like you guys looked horrible in the attack, but you also had like 6 clean sheets in that time. John, could you tell us about the Orlando City season so far?
Yeah, one of those 0-0 draws was actually the same day I got married. So like I'm really glad I missed
congratulations.
that game. But
Congratulations. Yeah.
we had like 4 0-0 draws in that time of 10 games. So we weren't conceding, but we weren't scoring. It was super boring. But there's been some wins in there, and then more recently the goals have come back. Like I really feel like we should have beaten New England. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot and gave away a silly penalty at the end, and conceded 2 goals when we were up 2. We shouldn't have done that. We didn't do that against Charlotte. We're still scoring 3 goals a game and looked a bit better defensively. And then that got us the win. So I feel like right now we are in a good place. The attack this year, I think, is better than we've ever seen it. I talked to you early in preseason, Danny, about what happens when you take Facu out of the equation. And I think Martin Ojeda now is just absolutely cooking.
Yeah,
And Pasalic has been a great addition, and Muriel is finally, showing that he's worth some money. Maybe not the massive salary he's getting, but he's contributing as well. So our DPs are looking good, and we got a lot of bright young talents. You got to watch out for Alex Freeman, man. He's an absolute beast.
That's Antonio Freeman's son.
Yeah, it is.
I used to watch him here since he's 11, 12. Used to play with my son.
Yeah, he came up. His family, I know, lived down there, and then we brought him up here, got him into the academy, and he's been getting better and better. And then this year, he's just broke onto the scene and looking like a real killer at right wing back, man. He just runs that right side against Charlotte. He made Tim Ream look really stupid.
So as far as you said, the attacks look better. What formation are you guys playing, and what's Poppy Ball looking like this year?
Is more attacking than what you would usually call Pappy Ball, right? It's not so much what we call the Pappy specials this year, not so much the 1-0s. We're getting more goals. The attack is looking more free flowing. We're always playing that's a hybrid. It starts on paper as 4-2-3-1, but it turns into like a 3-back because Brecalo is a center back playing as a left back who kind of shifts inside to form a back 3, which allows Alex Freeman to get high, wide on the right side. Angulo kind of covers on that left side, but he hasn't been doing a great job. And then you've got your 2 D mids, which have been rotating recently, but hoping that Atuesta will be back with Cesar for this one. And you got Ojeda in the 10, who just, like I said, is cooking with Pasalic and Angulo. And right now, starting Luis Muriel, but we got a number of strikers, so that could change. But yeah, really the 4-3-1, but more aggressive than other years.
Okay. Do you beat people on the counter at all? Because that's our weakness, is defending the counter.
Yeah, I saw it against San Diego, man.
Yeah.
San Jose.
San
Yeah,
Jose.
You guys are pretty open at the back there when things start to get, free flowing, let's say. Yeah, that is our bread and butter, and we will put you to the sword if that happens. Not when we aren't shooting and scoring, but like I said, last 2 games we've been scoring pretty well. So if that continues and it becomes an open game, Pasalic on the counter, Angulo, even though he hasn't got the best finishing touch, Ojeda, lots of our guys will get you on that counter attack.
Xavier, any thought on Orlando's attack against Miami's defense?
They're coming in at a perfect time, right? They're trending up, like you said it, and we're trending down and maybe
flatlining.
That we've had combination of the back 4. We have the different players coming in at center back. The big thing for us has been center back, right? For forever. We thought that this season they finally got some younger center backs. We thought it was going to improve, and it hasn't been that way. And I think it's more than just the center backs. I think it's more of a midfield to defense issue that we're having right now. But the center backs are not helping, and we're pretty short. The average size for our center backs. We got short center backs. We got a couple of taller ones and younger ones on the bench, which is a little crazy, right? We have Aviles, who's 6 foot tall. Frey also big. 2 young, pretty good players. Aviles is finally having a good season, and now he's designated to a bench, and we don't understand why. We've always been saying.
I think Mascherano looking at him as a midfielder now. I think is what it is, honestly.
Then we got to start seeing he needs some glasses, some different glasses, or I don't know what, because the first season he's finally playing like a center back without getting all the yellow cards, all the red cards, all the stupid fouls. The first season that he's actually looking like he's developing, he goes relegated to the bench. And then we have a size issue, and you have, Ian Frey, who's very talented. He can play right back. He's played very well, but he's a natural center back. Since a kid, he always was center back. He's transitioned to right back, and he can play center back, right back. He could play midfield. I think Mascherano should look more at him than Toto Aviles if he wants to play midfield. But those two guys have been relegated to the bench, and I think it's hurting Miami. It's really hurting now.
I agree. John, as far as Orlando's strengths, what would you say is the strength of this team? And then I guess you could follow that up with the weakness.
The strength right now definitely is our attack. We look very aggressive in the attack. The way that we move the ball around, it's pretty free flowing at the moment. And Ojeda is when he finishes, he's looking pretty bright. So the weakness, I would say, is our tendency sometimes to switch off at the back or make just stupid errors, just not mark a man or make a stupid tackle in the box. Or maybe even Pedro might make an error or two. Like, it can happen. We're still not getting the clean sheets like we were a few games ago. We're still letting the teams get a goal a game usually or more against us. Obviously, you guys have got a lot of good attackers, so I think you can score if we make some foolish errors at the back. But our midfield and attack right now is definitely our big strength, and the way that we pass and move the ball around.
And Alex Freeman is basically recently been the attack up the right side, no?
Yeah, I mean, he and Pasalic have a good relationship on that right side. Pasalic cuts in on his left foot. You got to watch out for that, because if you give him space, like he likes to say, my left foot is my weapon, and he will punish you with that. I'm sure you've seen, Danny, some of the goals this year.
Oh, yeah.
He'll hit them from range, so it's really not even just around the box, like 30 yards out, he'll hit a screamer. So watch out for him cutting inside, and then Alex kind of overlaps him on that right wing back. So I think, obviously you got Jordi Alba coming up on that side for you guys. It's going to be an interesting matchup to see, because Alex has been getting the better of some of these veterans, especially guys that are slow. He'll outpace them.
Well, the thing is that Jordi Alba, up until recently, I think they had a more defensive-minded strategy with him. He wasn't as involved as he was last year in the attack, but because we had this poor run of form over the last 2 or 3 games, he's been getting up high and he's been really involved. But that leaves us susceptible to whoever's playing out wide right for you guys. So I'm assuming that Pasalic and Freeman are going to have their opportunities, which is a little worrisome. And I really hope that they have Falcón playing, because if they don't, that could be a problem.
I'm not even sure if I want Falcón, because Falcón, we're talking about, he's not the fastest. He's definitely the fastest mentally. He's always the right position. He when he played with Aviles, he was guiding him the couple games that he played with him. So he's really, really good in that aspect. But as far as if you get him like a one-on-one with Freeman, he's going to get cooked. So I'm not so sure about that. If he's going to do anything, he'll probably end up having Noah Allen again on the left, who's a little quicker, a little faster. And they're friends. They played together. Freeman and Noah played together when they were kids in the academy down here in Weston. Now that we talk about that. But Inter Miami needs to get back to playing their style. And what happened before, they would play, the possession, but possession with some verticality, and some sort of speed. Now everything is super slow. This last game, Busquets, he looks like he needs a rest. He looks like he needs a rest. He needs a little time off. There was a couple of times. It happened last year, but now it's happening more often, where he's like a step where he's holding it a second too long to try to cover it with his body, and they poke it out, or they'll take it from him. So, but he's still, a master midfielder. I think this game is going to be another crucial game for Mascherano. This game against San Jose, I expect them to be better tactically and to be stronger defensively, and that didn't happen. And I didn't see him make the adjustments in game. So if he doesn't do that against Orlando has a good run of form right now, and it's going to be tough. The fans will be pissed if Orlando comes in here and runs over into Miami.
Well, I'm sure that the atmosphere at the stadium is going to be great.
But it's a rivalry game, so I imagine these guys are going to get pumped up and are going to get hyped. And I hope he does a couple of changes. I mean, this last game, we saw that Allende can come in and be the striker. Because what did Mascherano do? He puts Messi as the 9, Allende out to the wing, and Segovia at the wing. Why would you do that if you know that Allende is more of a goal scorer physically, his profile, his body?
But he changed in the second half, which is
right.
I like that he's finally showing that he's not as stubborn as he was in the beginning.
Will he do it now? Exactly.
Right.
Will he do it from the beginning? Because why did he change in the second half of the 13th game of the season? We've all seen this since the second game of the season. We're not the coach of the team. Like, we understand. Would you have lined him up like that? No. And Messi has always been on the right, and then you let him, come in and set up from there. But he's dropping him and not doing much. Segovia, he said it himself in some of the interviews when you question him. His game is not the pace of running into space.
No.
That's not his game. His game is what he did in the second half, right beneath Messi, touch the ball around, move the ball around, get it, control. And he hasn't even shot a goal. This guy has a really, really good shot. Hopefully he starts getting against Orlando, gets a couple of shots on goal. I hope Mascherano does tweak the team.
Orlando's had quite a bit of clean sheets. I don't know.
They're always tough defensively. They're always tough defensively.
Boppy ball, even though he's opened it up. Boppy ball.
So they're balanced. They're balancing out. They're going to be tough.
John, you said Pasalic. I think he's the most underrated signing of this offseason because nobody really talks about him. If for people that don't watch Orlando on a regular basis, when they tune into the game, what player, and I have a feeling I know what you're going to say, but what player would you say, look out for this guy because he's going to stand out to you while you're watching the game, even though you've never heard of him?
I would have said Pasalic like at the beginning of the season, but I don't want to say he's gone cold, but he hasn't scored in a little while, but he's definitely dangerous. Right now, it is Ojeda. I mean, the man's got
I thought
4 goals. No, he's got 4 goals in his last 2 games. Some absolute screamers in there. He just looks like he's the man of the moment. He's actually tied at the top of the league for goals and assists with like the likes of Ty Baribo and Anders Dreyer right now. Yeah. So he's at MVP level at the moment, and he looks hungry. And I think also being Argentine, like there's that, you go to play the GOAT and how big it is for him culturally and
hyped up,
what it means. Sure. So I think for him, he's going to be super up for this game. And I think that he's hopefully going to show what he can do. And there might be another Argentine they're talking about after this game. We'll see. I mean, obviously, you guys have got so much talent. You can never underestimate the likes of Busquets.
And it's Sunday Night Soccer, so everybody's going to be watching.
Even though, they're slowing down, they're still got quality. I really think Allende and Segovia for you guys are underrated. In the preseason game, they really impressed me when we lined up against each other. So the idea of you guys not using Mascherano, not using all these players in the right way, that's good for us because I think that those two especially can be really dangerous.
And that's basically what it is. We felt like they're not being utilized the correct way.
Noah Allen as center back is wild, bro.
But he's been doing really well.
Great.
He's been the most consistent.
You know why I think that is? I think it's because he learned from Ryan Shawcross. Now, you don't know, I'm actually a massive Stoke fan, and I'm a huge Ryan Shawcross fan because he was a legend for our club. And I think he went to the Ryan Shawcross school of center back, and he's taught him how to do it. He also went over to Stoke for a little bit and did some training there like a year ago in the summer.
Right, last year. I forgot.
And I think that was because Ryan also was like, hey, come over and train and, get some experience. So, yeah, I think he's doing well there. But that's the kind of thing I'm saying that, like, it's a little unconventional for Mascherano, some of the positioning of some of these guys.
Yeah, he's definitely doing some odd things. Yeah. So I ask every guest this question. Hypothetically, let's say you are a degenerate gambler and you decide for some reason that you think Miami's going to win. So you bet the money on Miami. That's it. I'm going to put the house on Miami and I'm going to win a bunch of money. But then the game day comes around and you start getting a little nervous. You're like, oof, I don't know if I made a mistake. So you see Mascherano because for some reason you have access to him. You walk up to him and you whisper in his ear, this is how you beat Orlando. What are you telling him?
You need to high press us.
Okay.
Yeah. You need to do like the Philly first game where they just came at us, high pressed us, get in our faces, especially the back line, like get in Jansen's face, get in Schlegel's face, get in, right up into Pedro when he's trying to make decisions. I'm talking like high press, be aggressive. It might open the game up, but honestly, that's the only thing. If you give us time to start getting into rhythm, I don't think that's going to help you. The other thing you could do potentially, and we've seen other teams do this, and I don't think you ever would, but go seriously low block and put like all the men behind the ball, because we struggle to really break a team down when they're super. That's why we got those 0-0s. Like against Chicago, for example, they went down to 10 men and they put everyone behind the ball, and we just couldn't score a goal because we don't have that ability all the time to pull a team apart, break them down, and get between the lines. We like more of that open counter-attacking game. But often, yeah, if you want to bother us, that high press can upset us and we can make mistakes.
Well, I was going to ask you, because the last 2 games you scored 3 goals each, right? You scored 3 against Charlotte and 3 against, what was it last night? 3 against no, last night was Charlotte. You scored 3 over the last 2 games. You scored 6 goals. Before that, you went 4 or 5 games not scoring any goals. What happened that they were able to keep you out of the goal for those 4 to 5 games? Did they all go low block?
No, like really, I think those games we just went like cold in the attack. Like we came out of the blocks at the beginning of the year. We had one of the best attacks. We were up there with Philly and Vancouver with the most goals. And then it just really went dry. Like I've never seen 3 games in a row where it was 0-0 and neither team scored. Like it was the weirdest thing. And we didn't even play really badly. We just were making chances and couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. I think we just all the team, no one could score for a certain amount of games. And then we kind of broke that. And ever since then, the goals have been flowing.
I remember leading into that Orlando Philly game, I was really excited because those were the 2 highest scoring teams at that moment in time. And it ended up being a 0-0 draw. And
literally, no one had that.
So prediction time. Xavier, what is your – well, actually, you know what, Xavier? Because John has to leave us in a couple minutes. So I'm going to let John give his prediction, and then we'll give our prediction a little later. John, your prediction for Sunday's match, Miami-Orlando in Miami. You'll be here.
I won't be there. I'm not gonna make it down. I'm sad.
Okay.
I wish I could for this one, but Sunday night killed it. Like that's rough.
Yeah,
coming back. I'm gonna go. You're not gonna like it. I'm gonna go 4-2 to Orlando. I think this one really opens up, and yeah, the defense I think is for you guys right now looks like it's vulnerable, and we look like we're hot. So I'm gonna back us to score more goals. Messi will get one from somewhere, from something, and probably the ref will find a way to give you guys a goal. That might be controversial to say.
I will tell you. I'm gonna put
that's
this.
That's what
out
history
there.
has shown me. So
I will put this out there for you, John, because a lot of people have that mindset for Miami.
Yeah,
and
mindset.
I will try to explain to you, and I don't know if you're gonna believe it or not. The refs don't help us for shit.
Well, that's
like,
good.
I wish they would.
Look, I'm still scarred from the League's Cup game, man. All right, penalty? Because we got there was a lot of things in that game. There was pushes to the face and all kinds of stuff that was not.
They tugged at Joseph.
Called.
It was a penalty.
So like we're scarred from that, right? And also we also feel always like y'all are getting a little bit of an advantage here with your situation that no one else has. So there's that, plus the league, glazes you guys like crazy. So we're gonna all that stuff.
It's
right?
funny,
that
everybody's
contributes to it.
No,
I
know
I have noticed recently they don't love you so much, which we
don't get shit. Did you see I don't know if you're watching last time.
Orlando whacks every time they play. They whack the
we will
Inter Miami players all the time.
No, I know they get under Messi skin.
They whack them and they hold back the cards and stuff. So I wouldn't say it's been.
No, this year's been rough. Ref wise, it was like I feel like after that referee asked for that autograph. I don't know if you remember that story. That in the Champions Cup, a referee asked for Messi autographed or his jersey or something after the game, and everybody made a big deal about it. I felt like after that, the refs were told like, "Hey, no favoring Mentor Miami," and I feel like they've gone overboard. Like, all right, I need to make sure that it doesn't even look like I'm favoring it, and it's really killed us.
You guys should be thanking Bruce Arena right now, or else Messi wouldn't even be in this game.
Absolutely, yeah. But I can't believe anybody from the team. Anybody the coaches no one went over there to like help them back or to like because you saw it coming. It was building up. And Messi's right. Messi's right because there's no way that this guy could not see the foul. I mean, this guy
You thought it was a foul?
Absolutely. He didn't touch the ball. He hit him.
I in the camera angle I saw, I couldn't see if he hit him or not. I wanted to see another angle.
Dude, during that game, that same defensive back, center back, I forgot his last name. He guy had like 8 or 9 fouls. He could have been out of the game. He made so many fouls, and they only got him when Messi got around him and he grabbed him. But before that, he committed like 4 or 5 other fouls that he could have got carded, and he didn't.
I don't know. I in the view I saw, I didn't think that he fouled him, but
I think he nipped him.
I will say one thing that I've always liked about Messi is that he's not much of a diver. So
he was setting up for the shot. He was setting.
I get that everybody gives him the benefit of the doubt. John, I know you got to run. Appreciate you coming on to talk a little Orlando. Please let everybody know where they can find you if they want to go ahead and talk shit to you on your show.
Yeah, I mean, totally. I'm sure they will. Loud and proud Orlando. You know, we're just like you guys doing everything for Orlando City and also Orlando Pride. So if you don't have a women's team, you can come follow us over
Fort
there.
Lauderdale United.
Yeah, if you're into your women's soccer. Yeah, man, that's everything we do. And I'm on a bunch of other shows. I'm on Wake Up MLS on Goals TV, so you can check me out there too.
Absolutely. And then you come on with us and Battered MLS fans also. So much appreciated, John. And I'm not going to say best of luck. I wish the worst of luck for you on Sunday, and we'll keep in touch.
And now we're enemies again. That's it.
Absolutely. That's it. No more pleasantries. Fuck you, John. Have a good one. All right, Xavier. Now, and for those of you asking, Chris is on daddy duty. Chris had a couple of things he had to do with his kids today. So Chris is on daddy duty. He'll be back.
That one. That one's best right here. Chris is at a wedding with Suarez. I like that one better. That's fantastic.
That is a great one.
I mean, that is the truth. How did you find out, Francisco? I mean, that no one knew. No one knew about that.
Yeah. All right. So Xavier, now we heard from John. He's telling us about Orlando's form. There should be, he said, about 400 to 500 fans possibly coming down from the 2 supporters groups, which would be really cool.
Wouldn't surprise me. They travel good down here.
So because it's close by. So it's going to be a fun game. My question to you: what are you expecting from our side for Sunday? Because I know you talked about it a little bit. We've seen him kind of playing around and tinkering with the lineup, the formations. Suarez, I'm assuming, will be back for Sunday. What are you expecting to see as far as starting a lineup?
I wish I could expect the unexpected, but you know what? He's been consistently sticking to his lineups. He's been consistently hard-headed. Do I think that this last game was the point where he saw the light, where he's going to switch? I'm not so sure. He sticks to the same. Chris is on a crazy road trip to find that in mic and internet. He's gonna get him digital because he's still on dial-up. I don't know, man. I wish I could tell you because I've been thinking the last couple of games. I even thought that this game here, we said it in Las Gatas in the Spanish one. I thought Miami would win 3-1. They go over there to San Jose. They put out they put 3 on them, but the defense would be solid. That didn't happen. Ustari is panking right in front of our eyes. He's aging. It's reverse Benjamin Button. He's aging right in front of our eyes quickly and obviously, and at the worst moment with Super Drake injured, right? But maybe that's Rocco's time to shine. I don't know. He's definitely going to start Ustari. Ustari looked terrible, right? But he's still going to play Ustari. Let's go to the back line. Let's see. He might push Jordi up a little bit and then play Noah on the left. But I'm not sure. I haven't seen any reports. But he looked like he tweaked his groin a little bit. So after Jordi, he played the rest of the game and he looked good. But sometimes that's just on adrenaline. And then after the games, a day or two after, you feel a little bit. So we'll see. I hope it's nothing. And maybe it's just, I saw him stretch a little bit. Hopefully it's nothing. But that could be a surprise. What?
No, I said don't jinx me.
No. Mike didn't
die yet.
No, and it's not going to. It's not going to. So that might be a little tweak where he puts him up a little bit towards. We saw it right for a few minutes of the second half, late in the second half, where he was playing up. Noah was on the left. I think there, if he has who did he bring in at center back? He brought Lujan for
David Martinez.
He brought Martinez and then he left Noah.
And then Noah Allen moved to left back, and Jordi Alba basically moved into the left mid. I think to
exactly
chase that game.
I like that. I think that's a possibility. I think that's a possibility that they might have. And then in the midfield, I don't know what he's going to do with Redondo or Bright. So there's so many things, so many ways for him to go that I can't predict it. With him, he sees the world through different. He sees the pitch and he sees the team through a different lens than anybody else.
And this is a serious question, okay? So because some people
What's
might
that?
think it's not that serious.
What's that?
Would you roll the dice and start Rocco?
He's not going to, and I wouldn't, and I don't think it's fair to the kid, right? That'd be his second game. It's going to be a big rivalry game against a really, really tough team, and there's a lot of pressure in this game. So I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
Eustadi has had a couple of soft games. This one has been the worst game by far since he's been in Inter Miami, and it's not because they scored the 3 goals. He didn't look like that normal, confident, veteran player where he will get the ball and put it out cleanly, and it looked, everything looked great. He looked rough a couple of times getting the ball out. That terrible pass he gave to Noah for the first goal where they stole it and scored.
That was bad.
And throughout the game, he looked like he was, out of position. Some of the shots, he looked really slow when he was diving.
The second goal, I felt like he should have been able to get down to that.
At least put a hand out or something. He looked old. He looked old. I tweeted out like right in front of our eyes. He just got old. So I don't think that this game you put Rocco. If Ustari has another terrible game and something like that happens, then you have to think about it. And they need to bring another guy in because we don't know how long Drake is going to be out. Drake's thing is could be extended. Look, he was out for such a long time, and now he got surgery. So I don't know when he's going to come back, man. I hope.
That was going to be my question to you. I was going to ask you, do you know how long he might be out? Because we need to bring somebody in the offseason. I mean, in the window that's coming up for that 2-week window we're going to have before the Club World Cup because we need a backup keeper.
Yeah, we got CJ on the trade. It was for GAN, for money, and they had reasons to do that. And look how well he's doing over there in San Diego, right? I don't know how long he's going to be out. Usually, that's at least I would say 3-4 weeks, but I'm not sure. We'd have to go get the doctor's surgery and see what he says, and then talk to Drake because Super Drake, and he was cleared by doctors way before he came back. So I don't know. The season has been a weird season with Drake. But what we were talking about before, how would he line up? I like what he did with Martinez, and I like what he did with Noah on the left, and I like him having Alba pushed up a little bit more because it gives him Alba, Messi, and I want Segovia in the midfield. So if you're going to put, Busquets, I would rather have Segovia and Bright and have Redondo as a backup coming in because I don't think he's as terrible as everybody. I don't think Redondo's terrible. Like everybody's been coming after him. He's been a little inconsistent. He's not the same like when he first came that he looked like he was going to be fantastic. He's been a little inconsistent, but he's still, I don't think he's been terrible. So on the right side, what are we going to go? Are we going to let him stick with Wigan or is he going to put Frey?
I've lost all hope in him putting in Frey. I think it's wild, but the fact that he goes from Wigan straight to Lujan, I've lost all hope that Ian Frey is anywhere in that conversation. And what I don't understand is that us that are just nobodies that just do a podcast and then you write your papers. The people on TV networks, like everybody
they're
says
saying
it.
the same thing.
Everybody says it.
So why is he being hard-headed?
Mascherano doesn't see it. I don't get it.
It's thick. He's thick. His head. He's been thick and he's been stubborn. I don't know unless there's something in the locker room that we don't know about, unless something's happened that we don't know about, which I doubt because Ian is a very fun-loving, cool kid. Yeah. So I don't see him having any type of issues that way. I don't know if he thinks maybe he lacks concentration sometimes or loses stamina late in the game. I'm not sure, but I would start with Frey. Now the thing that we're having is the wingers, right? You have to start. I'd have Messi on the right side, like he's always been, so he can come in and cut in. But I wouldn't have him so low. Allende, so it would. It's confusing then how we would line up, right? Because 4-3-3, it's different personnel. The way he's been
4-4-2. I don't mind the 4-4-2.
I'd rather have the 4-4-2 for this team. For this team, the 4-4-2, but he likes the 4-2-3-1. And I'm not a big fan of that with this team. I'm not a big fan of that with this team. But I think the 4-4-2 would work. If he comes out like that, I'd be happy. And then if he has Messi, then that's when then you can have Messi as a false nine, Allende a little bit higher.
And the thing is, he's allowed the fullbacks to push up higher over the last couple of weeks. And if you're going to do that, Ian Frey is the guy to do that. He'll take on a defender one-on-one. He'll progress the ball.
No doubt.
Cross. He could finish with his head if he's in the box. Like,
no, he'll finish in the box too.
Yes.
He'll finish in the box too.
He gives you so much. He can unlock this attack. And the fact that we just completely just ignoring the fact that Ian Frey is far superior to the other players. You know what? Let me take that back. Because the thing is, everybody's like, and me included, I've said, I think it's the Argentine bias, right? Because I can't see any other reason.
That's the easy conclusion. But
Bright has managed to beat that. But I think because Bright has been so far better than Redondo in this aspect, whereas although I think Ian Frey is better than Chelo, I don't think Chelo is as bad as everybody says. Chelo gives you quality minutes.
I don't think he's terrible either.
I think that's the issue. Because if Chelo was horrible and the disparity was huge, kind of like the way it's been with Bright and Redondo, I think it would be undeniable. Because Chelo is decent, I think that's been the issue for Frey, is that it hasn't been necessarily something that's undeniable. So I think that's what's killing his opportunity.
I think that's a fair take. I'd rather start Frey and then bring Chelo in. But even now, let's say he starts with Weigand. He's not giving Frey any minutes. Look at this. He brought in Lujan, and none of us expected that, right? And he's been playing Lujan at center back a lot. So now he has him center back and right back, and Frey is where?
Well, it's funny because somebody told me like they think it's because Lujan has the capability of playing both those positions. Frey plays three positions. He plays center back, right back, and he'll play you center defensive mid.
Yeah.
I think he can probably play center mid, really, because he has the ball skill. Like I think Ian Frey, it's just wild to me. The
talent. Sometimes you see that some of these coaches have talented young players and just hold them. Maybe he thinks he's not ready. I'm not sure what it is, but this team needs the combination. Our Barca boys, our veteran players, they need flyers. They need people that can move around them, and double up, because we criticize Suarez, but Suarez with his raggedy leg tries to defend a little bit more than Maino does, to be honest with you. So he tries to get around. Messi makes his runs once in a while, but he doesn't do what we need him to do. Busquets has lost a step. He's lost a step. Jordi's still the man, but he's not the same. Same warp guy.
But he's looked better over the last two games where they've allowed him to push up. And
he's
this
the
is
most fit. Mm-hmm.
And this is my prediction right now. Not score prediction, but just what I think might happen on Sunday, is that we're finally going to see Suarez unlocked. Because the last month and a half that he played, all the teams were playing that compact defense. He couldn't get any service. There was just nowhere to go, and Mascherano refused to play the ball out wide.
Right.
Over the last two games, we've made it a point to play out wide. Jordi Alba has been a lot more involved, but we haven't had Suarez. I think that everything comes together on Sunday. We're finally letting Jordi play up high. We'll have Suarez in the middle to finish if necessary, right? Because we had nobody finishing for us against I'm blanking who it was last weekend.
When we played the Bulls is the last game we won, and then afterwards we went to
we lost this past weekend. How did I forget this already?
What do you mean?
Well, oh my God, what the heck? How did I forget already who we lost to this past weekend? Minnesota. There you go.
Why? Because there's trauma.
Thank you. So that game against Minnesota, I felt like the first 15 minutes, we were finding opportunities and we were getting the ball inside the box into dangerous areas, but we had nobody to finish.
Yeah. They didn't play terrible. They didn't play terrible like the beginning of that game, and then it just fell apart.
And then yesterday, no, Sean, I'm not having a stroke. And then yesterday, We were crossing it, and then we had Allende there to finally put some of them in the back of the net. I think Suarez will finally get his opportunities this weekend, and we're finally going to see Suarez play. On top of the fact that he finally got some rest, which is what we've been asking for.
He needed some rest. And let's see. I hope he wasn't dancing reggaeton at the party or anything like that.
No.
His knees that get messed up.
I really do think that Suarez is going to come out and have a good game this weekend, and I think that he's going to kind of. This will be that game. Oh, this is what he needed. He needed that rest. All of a sudden, Jordi.
They all need a rest. They all need a rest. They all need a rest.
This game is going to be a good game for them. Before we get into predictions and stuff, I did want to bring up one more thing. Jordi Alba signs an extension till the end of 2026. I feel like not Jordi Alba. I didn't know what was going to happen with him, but I felt like Messi is almost a shoe-in.
Was it 26 or 27? I can't recall.
I'll double check. But I felt like it was almost a guarantee that Messi would be here next year. And now with the whole Jordi Alba news, I feel like that even more so confirms it. What do you think about the Jordi Alba extension?
Absolutely, it's a little bit of a sign, you can say, right? Because if Messi told him, "Hey, brother, I'm not here, I'm gone," none of these guys are coming back. Jordi having a good time in Miami. They're all having a great time. They're all having a really good time, and that's what the teams in MLS don't understand. That when Messi came here, he came because of his family, his kids. He wanted to be relaxed. Relaxed meaning family life, because on the pitch he gives it all. All these guys give it all on the pitch, and the other guys came because of that friendship. They have a bond. These guys are brothers, so that's why they were able to work out the contracts and they're not lacking for money, which is great, right? They're not lacking for money, so they were able to come here and they're enjoying what they're doing. So I do feel that that's a clear indication. And besides, this is also a business move with Messi. This is business also. He's our owner of this team. The valuation of this team, but it's already in the contract. That's in. It's in.
Yeah.
So the valuation of this team skyrocketed with him on this team. Now with that stadium and the land and everything that's coming, the valuation of this team they're in the top 20 in the world. Recently, I think they
top 20 teams.
So it's a given that he needs to be in that restaurant. The restaurant. Oh, there's going to be a lot of restaurants around. He needs to be in that stadium. He needs to be in that stadium day
and for 2 years. That would be great.
He's going to be here at least one. But he needs to be there.
I never doubted it.
So I'm pretty sure that's going to happen, and it's great for Miami. I mean, he can still play a really high level. He's still playing at a really high level. I always
said that if there was going to be any player of the Barcelona guys that stayed after Messi was gone, that it would be Jordi Alba. His age, and I don't know. I just look at him and I think that the fire that I see in him, I don't think that's going away anytime soon.
Physically, he's still strong.
I always thought that he would be the one that sticks around possibly after Messi leaves. And if he's playing through 2027, I know I've always said Messi will be here 2026, and there's a possibility that Jordi Alba stays one extra year after Messi leaves, but we'll see. But I do feel like this kind of puts, I think it calms those rumors of Messi leaving or being unhappy or whatnot.
They're still going to be there. They're still going to be there because people want to make noise and make news and say that they have, you know how that works. But yeah, he's pretty much looks like he's locked in. Yeah, what we got to do is we got to talk to Antonella.
Look,
she'll let us know right away.
Happy spouse, happy house. All right. So Sunday, we got Orlando at home. Sunday night soccer, so everybody's gonna be watching. Orlando hasn't lost in their last 10 games,
so it's time for a loss.
It absolutely. And
that's what I'm hearing. That's what you're telling me.
Look, and John, because I knew John was only here for 25 minutes, I didn't have a chance because I wanted to go back and forth with him, but I knew our time was limited, so I didn't. But to tell me that your strength is your attack, but you went 4 out of 5 games without scoring a single goal, I'm sorry, that doesn't scream necessarily a juggernaut in the attack. I think that they can be slowed down. So although I do respect their attack because they do have good players.
They have very good players.
I'm not going to say that I am extremely worried about their attack. I am more worried about their defense because in those 4 or 5 games where they were shut out, they also had clean sheets. They were 4 just no draws. So their defense also keeps their teams out of the goal, and I think that worries me more than their attack.
It's tight games.
What do you think is going to be the score, and what's your prediction for
And
Sunday?
since Messi got here, they've basically owned Orlando City because everything they're tied
We
up.
haven't lost to them since Messi's arrived.
Exactly. So that's where everything's tied up, and so right now the trend has been Inter Miami has owned them, and now they're at home. So Inter Miami should be favored despite the fact that they're not playing their greatest, because it's a rivalry game, and when you play these games like this, for some reason, everything that's happened before gets thrown out. They come in a great streak, that gets thrown out. Inter Miami comes in a terrible streak, that gets thrown out. Everything's going to be decided that day on the pitch. And I keep wishing and dreaming and thinking that Inter Miami is going to put it together, and that 1-0 Orlando, Dennis, it could happen, right? It could happen. 4-1, I don't think so. These games are tight until they're not. So, oh man, this is a tough game. Miami just put 3. They're having a tough time. I think it looks like a 2-1 game. Somebody said 3-3. That wouldn't be surprising me either. But I think Miami's due for a little exhale. If not, then we're due for Mascherano to inhale and and just hold his breath. I think hey, why are you throwing stuff back there? I think a 2-1 would be a good result, because they're always tight games. And when they're not tight, they're in Miami's favor. And recent history, we're talking about recent history. And I don't see Miami bust. Oh, Lord.
Wow.
Is that how he went dressed to the wedding?
Somebody just sent this to me. Oh,
That is.
That's rough.
Imagine if somebody goes into the press conference and their screen, their background is that. I don't think they'll let them in. I'm gonna go 2-1. I mean, I'm going around. I just don't know. Because if I had an idea what the lineup would be, if I had an idea how they're gonna,
then it's unpredictable. It's unpredictable. That's fair.
People are asking for Obando. People are asking.
I think people stop asking for Obando.
I prefer to be honest. Right now, I prefer Allende at 9 than Obando.
Yeah,
and I think Obando has been slowly getting more confident and building. But right now, I would prefer Allende. So Obando was a ghost. I don't know if he was a ghost.
What do you think about a 4-4-2 with a double pivot of Bright and Busquets, left and right mid, Messi and Segovia, and then the 2 up top, Allende and Suarez?
Are you the coach?
No, but I'm just saying.
I think you should be.
I think that would.
I'm not attacking you.
Freedom.
I'm not attacking you. I'm actually praising you, because that's a really good lineup. Now, how are you gonna line up the back 4? Tell me that, and then I'll see. Tell me what's your.
No, I mean, if it's what I want.
Yes. What do you want? What do you want?
I would have Jordi Alba, Falcon, Toto Aviles, and Ian Frey.
Okay, I like that. Didn't they play like that once?
They started like that. It would be Falcon and Noah Allen, or Falcon and Toto, and it felt like Falcon was the consistent starter, and they were switching off Toto and Noah. But eventually Noah Allen took it, which he deserves because he was playing great. But Toto Aviles completely just he just doesn't play anymore.
Right. Look, Segovia right there. Stanley saying has been disappointing. You know what's been disappointing to me is the fact that a lot of players are being put in positions where it's harder for them to succeed.
Absolutely.
I think Segovia, his profile, his style of play, Mascherano knew the type of player he's bringing, and he's trying to use him for something other than the way that he's normally been used. He's a midfielder. He's a central midfielder.
Absolutely.
He's a guy that he can be a box-to-box player. I think he needs to develop a little bit more with his stamina stuff, because sometimes you see him like lunging, trying to come back defensively. But he had with the ball at his feet, he and Messi they have the connection, and I think they need to have those 2 guys close together if they want good things to happen at Inter Miami.
And I think putting them at left and right mid, it gives them the opportunity to kind of work the ball in and play.
I agree. If you have those are my 4 midfielders. If it's Busquets, Bright, Messi, and Segovia, I'm happy. Yeah. I'm happy. Now I need to know who are the 4 behind me. If the 4 right now, the key to this game and to this team, and it's been the key forever, is our defense. We can never set the defense, right? They can never have a set defense. All this moving around, rotating. You need to have your starters, and I think they need to look. He really needs to look at having some height. Maybe because he was a very short center back, he doesn't really care because he was fantastic, right? Mascherano was a fantastic. Before he played, the pivot, and then they dropped him, and he was fantastic there too.
Dropped him back, yeah.
But I don't know if that's why he doesn't really care if the guys are not tall or not.
Another thing with I feel like defensively, I think we've and I appreciate that he's improved, but I think we're giving Bright too many opportunities to push the ball up. And I feel like I want him to be the holding midfielder. Give Busquets the opportunity to push up. Now I get that Busquets doesn't have the pace to get back. That's fine though. I'd rather have Bright back there for those counter situations.
He's better. He's done a couple of back heels. He's been a couple of touches. He's come out of pressure and pushed the ball up. So but
when did our defense really improve last year? Our defense improved when he was the man back there and he was consistently back there. He wasn't pushing up. We never. As soon as he got the ball, it was a quick decision. What's the easy pass and get it out? And I appreciate that he's doing more, but I feel like for what we need right now with our defensive liabilities, I think we need him as our holding midfielder. We need him staying back.
But
if somebody's gonna push up, let Busquets push up.
But that's where he goes with his his lineup of 4-2-3-1. I mean, he wants Busquets and Bright right there. Yeah. Then the secret to the team is those three guys with the one up top that can move around. And when we have Suarez, he can't make those runs, but he can score. So those three have to dominate. And what's happened, we haven't been dominating the midfield. We've dominated possession. One thing is having possession, and the other, any update on Baltasar? I haven't heard, but he's got to be tweaked what he came with. Like, remember, he was out for a little bit, and he was recovering, and I think he tweaked his hammy.
And you know what? Now that you mentioned the midfield, everybody was praising the midfield in the Minnesota game because we dominated the midfield. They gave
that's
us
not domination. That's not domination,
no,
right?
They gave us
not domination. Having possession is not domination. Domination to me is having the possession and having aggressive attack and having
and passes into the final third. And they were like, oh yeah, but a lot of people were saying that they were recovering the ball a lot in the midfield. Well, it's because the other team was basically just countering and they would just close in on two play. Like I felt like they were overhyping the midfield's game against Minnesota. I felt like Minnesota gave us the midfield. I thought that it was a little overblown. Now, Rubita did ask an interesting question that I always ask the guests. Her question was, because I always ask the guests this, and I never considered, because I've never answered it for Inter Miami, what do you think Inter Miami's strength would be, right? I always ask the other team, what's your strength? What would you say is Inter Miami's strength? Because I don't feel like we don't have a clear-cut strength right now. Not right now, at least.
No. Well, if you're going by the stats, and you're going to say possession of the ball, but possession, doesn't do much. What we haven't been scoring. Where are we as far as in the league in scoring? During the match, they mentioned that at the same point last season, Inter Miami has scored 10 more goals than they have.
Right, we had the same exact record, but 10 more goals.
Right, and that's a huge difference. And so look at the record. Look what you just finished saying. Inter Miami has the same exact record, right? The same exact record. 100%. You're sure of that? As last season, where they were
before yesterday's result. I don't know about now.
Okay, but even to that point, you think of that team last year and the team this year. Your memory is okay. That team dominated the whole season, which they didn't. They had some low periods, but then they got in that run, a big stretch of like 12 games where they were fantastic.
Which happened in May. It started in May when we got that run.
Inter Miami is not playing great. And we're a little bit worried, and look where they're at. So it's not all terrible, right? It's not all terrible.
How about I give you this?
What's that?
If I were to ask you, in the entire league,
right,
where do we rank in goals? First, second, 10th, 15th.
That's what I just asked you. That's what I asked you.
But if you had to take a guess,
I think we're still in the top 10. I think we're still in the top 10.
We are tied for 4th.
Look at that. And
there are only 3 teams that have scored more goals than us. San Jose with 29.
Okay.
Philadelphia with 26.
Right.
San Diego with 25. And then we're tied for 4th with 24. And there's a caveat there.
How many have we
All of those teams have played 1 extra game.
Absolutely. How are we as far as goals given up compared to?
Oh, no, they were bad.
So
even
we're
though-
like
well,
at San Jose. We're like
I take it back.
we're plus
We're
what?
bad, but oh yeah, we're pretty bad.
What? No, where are we? Where's the ranking?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We are tied for 11th worst. It's not the worst, but you're almost in the top 10. And when we play one less game, that's worse because that means we've allowed that many goals with one less game played. So we're 11th, but we've played one less game than all those other teams.
Right. But it sure shit doesn't feel like it. No, it doesn't feel like it. But you know what? That's the numbers. The numbers are cold hard facts. The numbers don't have feelings.
But
The
isn't
numbers-
that funny? Because last year everybody would criticize the defense, and I would come on here and I'd tell them there's
Yeah.
only 5 teams in the entire league
with a better
that
defense?
that
I remember.
statistically are better, and everybody was like, "But it doesn't feel that way." But that was the case.
It doesn't pass
And
the
we were
eye
scoring
test.
goals.
We didn't pass the eye test, but you know what? At the end, the eye test came through, right? Because Atlanta, like,
Yeah, no, that was Guzan had a lot to do with that, man. I'll never forget.
yeah.
Guzan saving Atlanta's ass.
That jerk.
Yeah. So, all right. So back to the predictions.
2-1.
Your prediction, I'm sorry, I forgot. 2-1.
I'm gonna go 2-1 because it's a rivalry game. But you know what? Let's see. Let's hope that they bust out and play a super game against Orlando. Our
And Uncle
defense is
Sam,
worse
ours is
than
worse
last year.
than us. It is, and that's what everybody hated Tata for. They hated Drake for, even though Drake saved our ass. And
You
now we
just
have
mentioned-
Stadio Mascherano.
You just mentioned that. That's a key fact. Will the defense be better if Drake was in form and the starter throughout this whole season?
It's possible because people forget how much he saved our ass last year.
He definitely would have been sharper yesterday as far as those dives down
Yes.
low. He definitely would have been sharper. I don't know. I mean, I'm a big Drake guy. I said at the beginning of the season, if you have this veteran as a starter, it doesn't bode well because it means Drake is not in great form, right? And now Ustari is reversing to the mean. He came out of retirement, dude. He basically was retired. They brought him in here, and then he just started on fire. And now he's like reversing and going back to like I'm older and I was retired.
Well, because I always wanted look. I didn't think Drake would be on this team, but once I found out Drake was going to be here, I said Drake needs to be the starter. But then he didn't play any preseason games.
He got
And
hurt.
Ustari played very well in those preseason games.
Fantastic. He played
So-
fantastic.
Although I was on the Drake should play bandwagon, I kind of gave in. I was like, you know what? Ustari earned it when he played in the preseason.
He did earn it. Look at Soccer Daddy. What is Soccer Daddy talking about? It's not defense. Offensive is the problem. He just finished explaining to you they're in the top. We're in the top 4 offensively,
in the attack.
and defensively they're still not a little bit outside the top 10.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but it isn't great for Inter Miami. So the problem is defense. If this team had a solid defensive team where you know what you're going to get game in and game out, Inter Miami would definitely be at the top, right there at the top. So right now it's and defensively, when we talk defensively, we're talking about the team in general, not just those back 4, because I think that the midfield has been very weak. I see it, that those shots that were scored from the box up top, no pressure, clean shots at goal. Starry fell like slowly, but there was no pressure at all, and that was in front of Busquets and Frey. And it's kind of to what your point that Frey was up high, and it was a little bit hard for him to come down too. So he had Busquets. One of the goals is Busquets goes, it hits off his leg, and it keeps going.
Right,
and
you mean?
No, it was Busquets who got.
You said Frey. Oh, you meant Bright.
Bright. I'm sorry. Yeah, I wish Frey would play midfield. Yeah, but I meant Bright. I meant Bright. So I think it's a general. I think they have to settle the midfield. How we're playing compact. How we're helping out, and that'll help the back 4.
Going into this game, look, Rubita put 0-0. I wouldn't be shocked if it ends 0-0 just because that's how Orlando's been this season for some reason, and we haven't been necessarily running.
I wouldn't be upset because it gives a clean sheet against super strong offensive players. They have guys that are in good form right now.
Ojeda is on a tear right now.
Muriel is starting to get
picked
back.
it up.
And you have Freeman is a young up and coming stud.
Freeman worries me.
Big time.
The right side worries me. Pasalic and Freeman down the right side with Alba finally pushing up. I love that Alba's finally being aggressive in the attack.
That's the key. That's the key of the game. That's the key of the game right there.
That's the
What's going to happen?
Jordi Alba's the X factor every single game, though.
Oh, absolutely. That he was last year, right? When he provided 14 assists and when he provided 6 in one game. Yeah, he definitely is the X factor, and they need to let him play freely. But and he actually defended pretty well last year. I don't think he was terrible. I
No.
mean, he gets criticized that he's not a good defender. He does pretty good.
And
Messi's not doing enough.
tough.
Yeah,
It's tough to get back on defense all the time when you're pushing up that high also. So
What's your prediction?
I'm gonna predict 2-2 draw.
Okay.
I'm gonna predict a 2-2 draw. Now
So
my
I'm being a
question
homer.
to you-
I'm being a homer then because I always pick them to win.
No, I've predicted them to win. I think the last week, and I've been wrong.
99%.
Yeah. So maybe this. I haven't predicted them to lose in a very long time. It has to have been at some point last year, the last time I predicted a loss, because I just feel like this team has enough to always win. I was having a conversation with Scotty Tuhati, Scotty from Drive Pink Dialogue today, and
What
he was
happened?
asking me why I felt so confident that Mascherano wouldn't get fired. I told him I think it's because, one, we have nobody to replace him as of right now. And honestly, that's the biggest reason.
Javier Morales. You know, I was thinking about that. Remember when Tata resigned and left for personal reasons, they had Mascherano was already there. That was a given that he was the one that was coming. So they were able to quickly move, bring him in, and keep going. Now I don't think they're in that spot. So they actually have to think about what they're going to do. And the quickest thing will be Javier Morales again. Who else is on that squad that would be an interim coach until they go to, bring someone in?
But that's okay. So here's my question to you, because that's the back and forth we were having. I told him he told me that he thinks that a loss against Orlando possibly would be the breaking point. I told him I don't think so. I think that the earliest you see Mascherano get the boot, if things keep going poorly, is the Club World Cup, because they need time. They might be having the discussions already, but you can't just bring Jim Curtin to coach this team. Like, you need the right person to coach somebody like Messi, Suarez, and these guys. I get it. I didn't like the Mascherano thing. I wanted to keep Tata. But you need to figure out who's going to come replace him. And you also need to give him a chance, because at the moment,
Chris, they're saying Chris should be.
Yeah, no, I saw
the first Cuban American coach for. Well, that could, you know what, that you might be onto something, because the Mas brothers bring a Cuban American coach.
That would put
and Chris can drive the bus too. He's easy.
Oh, and if you haven't already, please it helps us a ton. I always forget to mention that. I don't think. What do you think it would take to get Mascherano out the door? Not that I'm asking for it. I'm just asking. What would you?
I said, the next 5 games. The first of the 5 games that we're talking about was San Jose. And it wasn't great. It wasn't great, but not bad enough to fire him, right? So I need to see the next 4 games, what's happening, and reassess and and see what's going on. If the team doesn't improve, if he's not adjusting, if he's not making the obvious moves, because he needs to make moves. You cannot continue to play the same way and not make moves on the pitch. So I'm going to give him these 5 games. But I think what you said. It's rolled. The Club World Cup and Leagues Cup are the 2 things that are super important right now. Coming up, the season is extended, MLS season. So I don't think they're gonna wait that long towards the end of the season if things don't continue to improve. But if they do terrible in the Club World Cup, if they do horrible, if they do worse than they did here, I think that he has to get the boot just to save face.
Yeah, I think that conversation's already happening. Hey, if this happens, we need to have something in a setup for us to make a move. So I really do think, and I have no inside knowledge on this, but I would imagine, right? I would that as a responsibility as an owner or general manager,
you're always having
when you see these bad runs of form, you need to be prepared, because hypothetically, if we lose 5-0 on Sunday, then that's a really bad look, and then a conversation needs to be had. Now, Mr. Krabs said Real Madrid fired Ancelotti after he lost to Barcelona for the 4th time this season. It's completely different. It's not as easy finding a coach to come to the MLS.
But he didn't get fired, and this was already in the works where he was
going to go to Brazil.
Even from last year. But he made his exit.
But what I'm saying is, for people that only follow European soccer and are new to the MLS,
Look at that name that they keep saying. Xavi.
It's not easy to get somebody to come here. Now,
I
Xavi,
can't coach, guys. I can't coach. I don't have the license here.
Xavi, I didn't think was a possibility until I heard him linked to Monterrey. If he's considering going to Monterrey, he'll come here.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
I thought he wanted to stay in Europe, but he's not. He's gonna choose Mexico over here? No way.
And you know,
if he's really considering Monterrey, it's a possibility that he ends up being the coach here.
And the great thing about that is people, you know, he was out of Barcelona, but what did he do? He took one for the team. He's the one that brought up all those young kids that are balling right now. All those young kids.
Well, Rafinha took a shot at him the other day, but yeah.
Well, Rafinha is he's all over the place. But my point is he took one for the team because he brought those guys. He let them develop. Because what happens when you have a lot of young guys, even with that talent? What happened? They lost. They lost a lot of games. They didn't have a Barca season like they expected. But they developed. They got confidence and they became boozy.
What do you think about that comment right there?
As a coach,
yeah,
coach, you can't be a player coach. It doesn't really work. I know Gianfranco Sola, I think, was like did it one time, but it's difficult. But can he be a coach at some point? Yes. All these brilliant minds.
I wouldn't want to see another first-time coach with this team.
Yeah, because
even though I know Mascherano technically was a coach with Argentina, but it's different.
No, he's a rookie. No, he's a rookie because you're coaching younger kids.
Yeah,
younger men.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. What happened when they brought Tata, a guy with a resume, extensive resume, a guy with experience, everything? He was able to
had the perfect resume for this team.
He was able to calm things. And what was his thing though? He has the connects. One of the things that I criticize about this team is they bring in a lot of. I like the fact they bring a lot of young South American players. I wish they had a more variety of the diversity. Right. But I like the fact that they look to South America. What I don't like is that it looks like the scouts here are bringing players with names. They come in injured and they're not producing. So and I see other teams bringing play. The Minnesota player, what was his name that he played in Tucumán? I forgot his name. Even this last game against the game we just played against San Jose, the number 10, was it Espinosa, his last name?
Christian Espinosa's a beast.
Right, like players like that are not high profile players, and they come and they ball. And that hasn't been happening, right? That hasn't been happening to Miami. It's been kind of a reverse. They bring in some high caliber names, and I'm not talking about the Barca Four. I'm talking about the other people, and they don't ball out because Toto was supposed to ball out from day one.
But Tata had some good ones. He got Diego Gomez.
Oh no, absolutely. Second year though, he developed his second year. You got to give him time. Matias he was a known commodity. He was just a little bit on the bench, but he was a known player. He did really well here, but then they let him go. And I thought Segovia, honestly, would be an improvement over him.
I think Segovia has a chance because
I think he's an improvement over him, to be honest.
When I see him in the center of the pitch, I like what I see from him.
Yeah, and over there, everybody comes in hurt. You can't bring in players that are hurt, and then you can't have a staff where all your players are getting hurt. Like, not so much this season, but last season it was crazy.
And that's why we don't have Steve Aoki as our trainer anymore. So we can't even blame him anymore.
He sounds like the musician.
Yeah. All right. I think we've covered just about everything. Unless there's anything else, Xavier, that you think we haven't touched on.
What haven't we touched on? I mean, we touched on Mascherano. We touched on Frey. We touched on the defense. The only thing that I can think of where people have been criticizing Messi and like pointing, the people that hate him apparently, that the team has been brought in and everything has been around him, right? He brought in his players, his friends, his coach, and then maybe he has something to do with the young guys coming in. I'm not so sure about that part. They've been criticizing Messi for every single thing that's happened here. Is he having a terrible year? What are his stats? I don't think he's having a terrible year.
No, it's not as great it was last year, but it's not terrible either.
What is his stats right now?
I'll tell you right now.
Like Messi's taking a lot of criticism.
While I pull that up, Mike V saying Hendo got Bright. Don't get it twisted. Tata played Bright Tata also moved Noah Allen to center back.
Yeah, but
Tata,
Hendo got
Tata was
drafted. Yeah.
Tata was so underrated. Tata brought in so many good players, and he gave players chances. He was playing Robert Taylor.
Yeah,
He was
no,
playing Robert Taylor.
honestly, yeah, no, and remember, Bright is a diamond like that was found. Like you're walking on the beach and you stepped on it because he came out of college and he was polished and like amazing players stepped right in. I remember when he first played in the preseason, his first game, I was like, hey, this kid's different. He's right out of college and he looks like so confident. And he wasn't as technical. I think he's more technical right now than he was last season, to be honest with you.
Messi so far in regular season play, 9 games played, 8 games started, 5 goals, 2 assists. So 7 goal contributions in 9 games.
And
Not
he's
bad.
off, and he's having an off season,
Yep.
and he's being triple teamed, and he does not having help.
I
So
know it's well,
he's
when he
not
gets
having
the
any-
ball, they all mark him. Like, he doesn't have space. Everybody's saying, yes, you're not going to beat us. Somebody else is going to have to beat us. And
Well,
I
they need
guess
to step up. They need to step up. They need to step
Yeah.
up. And last year, the person that stepped up was our guy Suarez.
yes. All right. Any final words, Xavier?
Yes, we need a new coach. It's not going to happen. It's not
No.
going to happen. And let's hope it doesn't happen. And what does that mean? What do I mean by that? When I say let's hope it doesn't happen, it means Mascherano figures it out. The team is able to get back to its winning ways and is able to compete. MLS Cup is still a possibility. MLS Cup still has to be the objective, the main objective, because Leagues Cup, there's a possibility there. FIFA Club World Cup, we're going there for exposure, for,
Yeah, we're
for
not winning.
marketing, for sales, and hopefully to get some confidence and do a good showing. Not get dogged over there, like
Right.
play like caca, like we've been playing. So if they go
We're-
over there and they compete,
We're stuck with Mascherano for I think at least another month.
I think
Minimum.
I think he finishes the year if the team turns around. For
Yes.
him. If they
But
fight for him.
But if they have a bad run of form over the next month, I think it's
He's gone.
possible that he goes.
Absolutely.
But
No,
it won't
absolutely.
be before the next month. That's my belief.
Remember Phil Neville? Like everybody was, but the guys.
But I knew
fought
he
for
was
him.
gone.
But
I
but
knew
the
he was
guys
gone.
fought for him, right? They
Yeah.
fought for him on the pitch. So if these guys fight for Mascherano, this is a better team.
I don't know if you remember Phil Neville in December after making the playoffs, they gave him a 1-year contract. And I remember I came on here with
We all,
Chris. and I
all
told
knew
him,
that wasn't a
I
great
told him
sign.
1-year contract. He's not going to finish the year. Messi's coming, and he's not going to coach Messi. He
Yeah,
won't finish the- And I came and I said that on here because that was as clear as day.
Yeah,
That they
just
knew
like
Messi was coming, and that
Absolutely.
that he wasn't going to be the coach for Messi.
you read between the lines, just like
Yeah.
we're reading between the lines with Alba's signing that
Yeah.
Messi's coming back.
Yeah, Messi's
But
coming back.
we haven't one thing that we haven't mentioned, and it's you said if anything, is those 2 spots are still open. Inter Miami can still bring 2 big time players, for the club FIFA World Club. So there's still 2 spots open, and let's see
Well,
what happens.
it was reported today that Di Maria is not going to return to Benfica.
But
so-
after playing,
But yeah, no, I'm talking about for like Leagues Cup time. No, I'm talking about World Cup.
Right.
Club World Cup. We need a backup goalie at some point.
I want.
How much does Dibu really love Messi? Show me.
No, that's not gonna happen. Are you crazy?
Show me.
What
No,
I
he tells
want
me
is
he loves Messi. Show me.
They don't love him that much. Hey, you know what? I want I don't know if I can use the word world class, but I want a center back that day one that he steps onto the pitch for Inter Miami. You know that there's going to be lockdown. This guy's the captain. The boss back there. He's going to be busting people, and that defense is going to close up. Or at some point, is he going to give Busquets some time at center back? Remember, Tata did it, and when Tata did that, things changed, right? It like control the back. Does this guy have the guts to do that? He has the midfielders to do it. He can put Busquets, and he has other midfielders. I mean, there's options.
I don't hate that idea. All right. I think I asked you for your final words, but I'm saying it again just because I don't remember. Final words, Xavier.
They need to come out against Orlando City, show some fire. They need to fight for Busquets. Fight for Busquets too. They need to fight for Mascherano, and they need to get a result. They cannot lose this game. And if they do, then I'll think about what you said, that in the next month, Mascherano could be a goner.
Mike V here with his Rocco takes. Rocco doesn't call the wrong number. You answer the wrong phone.
I agree. Rocco right now Rocco's like the backup quarterback, the most popular, guy on the team.
And Stanley's saying Debu would never take less money. I'm dreaming. I was just saying, show me. He says that he loves Messi. Just show me.
But look what Mike V said. Rocco's bigger than Debu. So
I don't know where the Rocco thing came from, man. I really don't.
He's become a legend without doing
anything.
I wish. How do you get so lucky? How does someone get that lucky?
I don't know. I will tell you that I'll play the Chris part. Chris would have come on here. He would have predicted a 4-2 win for Inter Miami, and at some point he would have still said, "Oh, we're cooked. We're cooked, Daddy. We're cooked." So I don't know how he says
that's a great impression. That's a great.
Still win 4-2. So that
multiple personalities.
That's Chris in a nutshell. We're gonna win 4-2, but we're cooked, Daddy. We're cooked. So, but Chris will be back post game on Sunday night. We'll be talking. Hopefully,
I miss Chris too. I miss Chris too, guys.
I could do without him for a couple episodes. It's a pain in the ass. So,
all right, you're going to the match.
Yeah, I'm going. I was supposed to take my daughter, but when my wife found out that it was Orlando, she's like, "Come on, man! How you gonna not let me go to Orlando?" So I take my wife.
You got to take the queen, yeah, princess.
Yeah.
Princess second.
yeah. She, my daughter wanted to go, but my wife's like, "I can't miss the Orlando match." So,
Lynn,
he's not a guest. He is a regular. It's just that he's usually
I do it in español. I speak Hispanic, so me tienen en español, but I come in English. I'll do a couple more. I'll do a couple more English shows.
Yeah,
with the best. This is the best. The Battered Herons is the best. Inter Miami fan podcast, and I'm not just saying it because we're on here. It's the most fun. Like I've been on several, and I like them all. But you always have like a good time. There's a good vibe, and it's because of you guys there in the comments and all stuff. It's
absolutely awesome. The chat carries the show. We appreciate
it's awesome.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming on. Like I said, Xavier Las Garzas every Monday night at 10 o'clock. So if you want to hear more of Xavier, he's always with us Mondays at 10 o'clock, along with Solana and sometimes Chris with his Cuban, I don't know, his Cuban dialect.
You guys can check me out on Lemon City Live.
Absolutely.
Right there you see at Lemon City Live, I write. As a matter of fact, I haven't written for this last game, so I'm going to have to write something. But I always write articles about all the games, and check me out. Hey, this guy hates a lot. Hey, thanks, Dennis.
And that's that Dennis. You're always throwing shots at Dennis too.
I was going to say, Dennis, I appreciate you, but when we play that soccer game, I'm still going to kick the shit out of you. So,
all right. Again, we appreciate everybody. We'll be back, and yeah. All right. So, if you're listening on audio, we appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please leave us 5 stars, comment, review, all that good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, please take the time to like the video, subscribe. It helps us a ton. We really appreciate everybody that does that for us. And for those of you in the chat, as always, you guys are the best part of the show. We appreciate you hanging out with us for the last hour and 18 minutes. I really thought that this was only going to go like 40 minutes when I knew that John was going to leave early. But Xavier, it's always fun talking to you. And the chat was always great, contributing. So we appreciate everybody. We hope you enjoyed. Oh, and shout out to Cynical Tube. I know he told me about his dog passing. So I'm sure he's going through a tough time. Hopefully you watched this all the way to the end and it cheered up your mood for even a little bit. So good luck. I've gone through that a couple times. I know it's tough. Much appreciated, everybody. And we'll be back on Sunday night for the post game. So until the next one, have a good
peace.
One.